Good day or night to you. Welcome to the Gaming Tome. Mordhau, the medieval first-person shooter game that is inspired by the Chivalry series, has gotten an update recently. Part 1 of the Eastern Invasion update. These two parts to the Eastern Invasion update are focused on adding content to the game that is themed around the Crusades, a time of history where armies from Europe were sent to the Middle East and eastern ends of the Mediterranean to fight wars and reclaim the Holy Land, or something like that. Let's take a look at some of these notes, and I'll give my impressions to a lot of these changes, and then we'll go in-game and take a look at what these things look like. So the Christmas event in Mordhau has been enabled. Horde mode has been changed. There's a new big map, Noria, and a new smaller map, Cortile. This is an interesting change. Players can no longer select which team to join, supposedly ensuring more balanced teams. Party members will be grouped together whenever possible. This change I do not like, because sometimes you want to play on one side or the other just because maybe you don't like one side or the other, or maybe you've been stuck on one side through the matchmaking over and over again, and you want to see what the other side of the level is like. So I don't think this is the best option. Some ideas I have where they could change this, do something different, is maybe after the battle's been going on for a while, new players are going to be sent to one team to balance it out. Or maybe it'll block players from the team that's doing really bad from switching to the winning team, but allow people from the winning team to go over there. Something even better that I think would be good to have is just a team auto balance. Team Fortress 2 has an auto balance system, and early on in my time playing, the auto balance was annoying or inconvenient when it would swap me from one team or the other. But over time, I have come to appreciate auto balance because I would much rather play in a closely matched game where each side has to put everything it's got to beat the other side, rather than a game where one side is clearly winning and the other side is clearly losing. If they could put in an auto balance system that swaps players around once in a while to balance a match, that would be a good solution. Let's move on to some more of the details. Here they added a Nubian character option and then they added a bunch of new hair, beards, and eyebrows available to the rest of the characters. So through this, the Nubian character, I guess it's like an overall preset, you can access darker skin tones when you're building your characters, and this ties into the whole theme of this update, the Crusades, fighting in the regions that are the Middle East, Northern Africa, Eastern Mediterranean. So we got some cool new additions to the possibilities of the characters we can make. Added a whole bunch of armor and clothing pieces, strange words that I don't know. What is a kipchak? I don't know. I'll find out what these are down the road. A weapon skin, another weapon skin. Some DLC has been added to Mordhau. The Grotesque DLC set and the Lion DLC set. You can see here, there's a lion, there's the Grotesque set. Some people are disappointed with the addition of DLC to Mordhau. My view of this is there's so many different cosmetic items in Mordhau that even if these were free, I doubt that I would use them. They do look really nice. There's so many armor options to build a costume for your character. I just wouldn't get to them. I see this DLC as a good thing for the game in the future, because these small cosmetic DLC sets are going to allow the developers of Mordhau to pull in some funding so they can extend the amount of time they can keep working on Mordhau and adding to it, making more updates down the road. Mordhau is a very innovative game in this small genre of first-person melee combat fighting games, and I'd like to see what more they can add to this game. Alright, changes to combat. It appears that throwing stuff, you can be a little more agile while you do it. You're not going to get slowed down as much. They changed kicks a little bit. Feels like they're always doing that. Weapons and equipment. They added a scimitar, and we got some nice pictures up here. A scimitar, a weapon fitting for the warfare of the Crusades. We had the falchion. That was sort of like kind of like a curved blade. We had the messer, which is kind of the same sort of situation. And then we had the falx, which was kind of like the blade was curved the opposite direction of the scimitar. So now we don't have to pretend we have a scimitar when we're building our loadouts. We actually have one in the game. It appears the developers made a bunch of changes and fixes to the toolbox and deployable stuff. I haven't played since they added deployable spawns because I was just so busy with other things, but it sounded very problematic when they first added it in, and it appears they are fine-tuning and steering it into a direction for how they want it to fit into the gameplay. Some weapon changes and stuff. I'm not particularly interested in that.
Let us go through the mines of Noria.
Noria, the large map added in this update that they've been teasing for a long time. It's for invasion and frontline, but we also have some other things like Horde and a few of the smaller game modes. We also have Cortile, which is a smaller map. We have pictures of these two maps. We have this Noria. It looks really cool. I look forward to seeing this in game. We'll probably take a look at that later. Cortile, this image looks very familiar. Like I've probably seen a teaser for this quite a while ago. We'll take a look at that too. They have changed Horde mode, which is great because the old Horde mode, it was fun in the beginning, but very quickly you would become overwhelmed by enemies. It promoted the really annoying, terrible gameplay of running around the map, training the Horde behind you, kind of like when you reach higher rounds in Call of Duty Zombies, except you don't have guns, you have swords and crossbows. In the old Horde mode, you just had to cheese the Horde, use exploits, whatever you could to keep them from overwhelming you. It just wasn't good. So we'll see if these changes help with that. Now, instead of just running around the map, you actually have to defend a location, which is wherever the AI commander currently is. You got to defend him from the Horde. So that's interesting. Players can now level up and distribute skill points into 52 different skills across 4 trees. which grant passive bonuses as well as active abilities. This sounds very promising for the Mordhau SDK/editor. I'd like to see if some maps people make with that can incorporate some of these skills into the objectives. Maybe like an invasion map where the final objective is to kill the king. It's like a boss battle. What if that boss battle, that king, gets some of these skills? That could be very cool. So players can now respawn during waves and get revived in Horde mode. That is another great change. I've played a couple of games here and there over the years that are round-based, where if you die, you have to spectate the rest of the round, and sometimes the rounds can be really, really long. It's a terrible thing when the rounds are long and it forces you to spectate if you die. We're here to play games, not to watch games. So I'm glad they changed that. Reviving players, got some cooperation there. Respawning. If you die, you're still in the game, but you gotta spend the time to run back to the AI commander, which is much more entertaining than just sitting and watching for like 15 minutes as like one guy uses a scythe or whatever to chop up the last remaining bots. I imagine the pacing has improved, changed the economy in Horde, so they added a makeshift bow, a light crossbow, and a black firebomb. I hope that these end up making their way into the loadout system down the road. Like, I imagine the makeshift bow could be something a peasant could get. A light crossbow, that would be pretty cool. Like if you're making an assassin type of character. A black firebomb. Maybe it's a bigger firebomb. Maybe it's something that has actual shrapnel. We'll see. Throwable weapons replenish their ammo over time. That's great. It's not like you spend a bunch of points and then you throw your 2 axes and you're done. They added a goblin merchant. Sometimes you gotta deviate from history and you gotta have a goblin selling you stuff. They made some changes to enemy behavior, added skin variations, so now all the peasants don't look the same, or less of them look the same. Now there's more variety in their faces and I guess body types. Changed the behavior of a few weapons and shields in Horde mode. Okay. And then sounds. We have a new Eastern voice set. I've heard people really like this addition, so we'll take a look at that. So those are the notes for the first part of the Eastern Invasion update. Let's take a look at these things in game. So we're gonna make a character using some of this new stuff. So to access the new character type, you have to change the face to the new Nubian appearance, and then the Eastern voice.
Thank you, my friend. You will be rewarded. Your mother raised a hero. Pity us, fool!
That sounds... it does sound like a nice voice set. Let's change up some stuff. See, we got a whole bunch of new hair options. Got a mohawk. We have some afros, and let's see, we got this one. See, we got all these, and then we have some more facial hair, some more beard options. Somewhere in here. I haven't played in a while, so I don't know for sure which ones are new. Probably this one probably is new. We have the scimitar. The scimitar here. And we have there's some skins for that, for the blades, different blade types, different guards, different handles. I think this is one of the new hats, the skull cap. And there's also a painted version. I remember there were skull cap hats all the way back in as an old game, Dungeon Siege, if any of you remember that. I remember some of the characters being able to find some skull cap hats, armor pieces. That looks very fancy, but it's also gonna cost you a lot of gold, so hopefully you have some gold saved up. Okay, I have built this loadout so that I can try out the scimitar. Some cool stuff here. I like the look of this character. The scimitar pairs off really well with this little buckler. We are traveling to Cortile, the smaller of the two maps. Gonna try out the scimitar guy.
You turn my stomach! Let none of them breathe again!
Time to chop up some of these bots in this local match. So, it's just a simple courtyard. Good place for people that enjoy the smaller modes and anyone that wants to duel. It's got some nice rainy weather, and we have slick wet stones on the ground, bricks. Malric the Dude. That sounds like a Chivalry reference. Chop them up. Along the exterior of this courtyard, got all these doorways and windows, some flower pots, some bells. And a guy chopping me up from behind. Yeah, it's a small map, but got some cool weather. Nice, shiny reflections on the wet bricks. Anyway, that is Cortile. Let's take a quick look at the new Noria map. Just gonna fly around in spectator mode while the bots fight it out. It's a larger map, so we'll see more of it if we're spectating. We have a desert city. On the outskirts of the city, we've got some really cool water wheels feeding a aqueduct system that I assume is watering all these lands and keeping it nice and lush. I do really like these aqueducts. They look really cool. We've got what looks like some sort of sea, maybe the ocean, over here. We have chickens, and it appears that you can kill these chickens because they have a health bar. We go into the city. There's a horse. Got this nice marketplace. The buildings on this side appear to be closed off, but on the left side, you can go into some of these buildings. Can go into this house. Some nice rooftops for shooting arrows down at the attackers. Basket of rocks. And some other defenses. Now that we're getting higher up, we're getting closer to this palace-like structure. Gets a little more defensible here. Here we've got the main gate to the palace section. A nice wall on top.
The walls of Noria.
Little courtyard here. Some really nice looking tiles on the ground. I like that. And then inside, the palace looks like it's seen better days. Nice second floor. Rumpled up rug. Lots of cool rooms to explore. There is quite a lot of interior space inside this palace. And that is Noria. It's a pretty straight, linear desert city map. The visuals, very nice. Don't know how well it will play, but we will find out. There's also the new Horde mode to take a look at, but I'm going to leave that for a separate video. I'm really liking these changes that have come in part 1 of the Eastern Invasion update, and I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on this update. Please leave a comment down below and tell me what you like and what you don't like. If you enjoyed the video, then leave a like. If you did not, then tell me why. If you want to see more content, then slash that subscribe button with a scimitar. Thank you for watching. Keep making and keep playing. Have a good one.